Hey folks, welcome to the latest edition of Serverless Craic with myself, Dave Anderson, author and contributor for Serverless Edge and technical fellow Bizarre Voice.
Mark McCann, architect at Globalization Partners and author and contributor at Serverless Edge.
Hello, Michael O'Reilly, architect with Globalization Partners and contributor with Serverless Edge.
Today we'd figured we just back from the DevOps Enterprise Summit organised by IT Revolution with Gene Kim and crew. So we had a great week over there with sort of the book launch, I suppose. It was like it's always a brilliant conference. We talked about that last time. Super excited to go beforehand, but it's again didn't disappoint. Brilliant to see everyone in real life. I think there was about 1,000 people at it, and it was
Wow.
super stuff. You two couldn't make it, but did you enjoy watching some of the scenes of Linux and stuff?
Yeah,
Social media.
It was great seeing the buzz and seeing the some of the content coming out of it, and also seeing the pictures of you getting handed the first copy of the book. It's kind of made it very real very quickly, right?
Yeah, very jealous. Sorry I couldn't get out, but yeah, really, really good.
I wasn't expecting that. It was on the first morning. I kind of went over to IT Revolution stand. They just say hello, and they were like, "Here's your book," and I was like, "Oh, right." So it was funny, but I think I was in shock for the whole of the first day because they had this shelf with all IT Revolution books in chronological order, like DevOps, Enterprise Handbook, Accelerate, Team Topologies, all the Mark Schwartz books, Dominica DeGrandis, just loads of them. Like I'm forgetting a whole bunch, but a Unicorn Project, Phoenix Project. So it was mad to see the book sitting with all those. So I'm still in shock, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it's well deserved after a long, hard slog of writing and curating and editing and all that goes into it, right?
Yeah, it was cool. Like I say, big team win, but it was nice to see the real thing. So
well, let me ask you this: did you see anyone else with the book? I think it'd be really surreal. Like it's okay you getting handed it, but watching someone else read it, I think that would be the more terrifying bit.
it was strange watching people walk up and look at the stand and reach out and lift it and start kind of flicking through it. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like up and saying, "What do you think of that?" Sort of. It's funny. And then they had loads of stickers and stuff, so you started to see a few stickers floating about. So it was weird, very strange, very surreal. There we go.
The laptop stickers are great. It's like you gotta have the swag, right? I know that one might not show up. There you go. Big small one's really good. And the bookmarks. It's good.
Oh yeah, I've already tagged all my devices. I'm good.
Like the bookmarks. So it was great crack. And then it was interesting to see the feedback. I mean, did a couple of things. The first one was call them learning sprints. It's a wee bit like open space where you have like a breakout, and it was like an hour. And I think there was 5 authors doing learning sprints all at the same time. So who could pick which one to go into. So did like an hour on, did it twice. Did an hour on kind of creating a cloud strategy with Wardley mapping, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
So it was, and I used Ben Mosior's Wardley map canvas, which we talk about a lot from learnwardleymaps.com. And it was just great taking people through that. Like, we've been through canvas loads of times.
Was it a digital thing, or did you have to draw it up on a whiteboard, or what way did you run it?
Oh, I just printed out a load. I printed them out on A4 and A3, so a normal size and a big one.
Okay, good.
And I had a load of Sharpies as well, so just let people scribble, and I just facilitated on a flip chart. But I mean, the hard thing about those is always like, who's the customer and what do they need?
Yeah.
But I kind of almost pushed people along through those steps, and then wanted to spend time doing the actual mapping.
Yeah, I think once people start connecting some of the elements of the value chain and start to see, oh, well, why is it over there? Why is it not over there? Then you're into a nice conversation, right? And I think it's just once they get beyond the terminology and the notation and the syntax, they're like, oh, right. And now they're starting asking interesting, challenging questions. And I think it just that canvas is a great way of just getting people started and thinking. And very, very quickly they start gaining insights and start seeing things that they maybe not have seen if they hadn't done it, using the canvas or using the map.
Yeah, and all the wee tips, when people are all kind of oh, is this exactly the customer? What do you mean by the actual customer? And how many needs? People get very sort of micro at the start, and you say just pick one and keep moving. So you can push them through because you can always add more later. So getting people to almost move quickly and giving people a couple of steers, but there's almost the first 20 minutes is like complete confusion. Like, what are we doing here? And then once you draw the map out, people are like, ah, right. And then when you start to plot movement and inertia, that's when people start getting really excited.
Yeah.
And it comes crystal clear, which is funny.
What is it? What's it Wardley always says? Like it's people, even if you're talking to someone in Swahili, you can still have a conversation with them around a map.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, with those workshops as well, let me ask you this. I mean, did you get anybody that had a eureka moment? You know, like sometimes you get in those workshops when you're going through it, that just clicks for people, you know, and then you can see they just had that eureka moment, they get it.
It
And they
was a
would
really
back to thinking in a non-mapping way.
you don't you don't know, but there was I had a value chain done out, and it's and we talked about moving some stuff over to the right, creating space for innovation. And I sort of says, what might your innovation be? Like, say you want to do something in ML, like
Right.
as an innovative thing, and you decide to bring in some ML capability. And I would say, you know, you have to decide is your ML capability over in custom, or do you want to try and bring in the product? And I sort of said it could be in custom if your engineers decide that they don't want to use like something like SageMaker, they want to build their own thing. They spent 2 years building their own ML platform. And is that all completely? You may not be able to bring in SageMaker unless you get your cloud ops done. And one guy started killing himself laughing. He says, "I just spent the last month trying to talk a team out of rewriting SageMaker." I was like, "What kind of company are you?" And he's like, "We're not a cloud company." So, you know, so the stuff was resonating everywhere about the inertia points and the movement and even the order you try and do things. So
Good
it was
validation.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just the whole thing about if you've got a board member at the top, what does the board member care about, and what's the things that enable that are way down the bottom of the map? You know what I mean? And it's that kind of where's the value line? It's all important, but and as we well know, knowing what's the stuff you need to explain to the executive leadership, and what's the stuff that's important that you don't really need to explain the nuts and bolts of cloud ops, but it's needed. You know, just making all those connections.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's good crack. And then I did the talk on the Wednesday, which was good, and I hemmed and hawed about the talk, and they're all up now on the GitHub. I think it's github.com/DevOps Enterprise slash 2022 Las Vegas. So all the slides are there. They're all loads of really good PDFs. But I hemmed and hawed on the talk because I wanted to do something different. So I decided to just say creating the value flywheel effect. Almost how did we come to this stuff? So I did a wee bit of intro on the book, and then told the story through maps, wee bit like the map camp talk.
Yep.
And the funny thing that people tend to like about that was what I started with one of the drawings that one of us had done on the wall. Go back maybe 5-6 years. So a scribbly, messy drawing with a map, and then showing the map in the book, almost showing the evolution of the map from our kind of garbled madness drawn on the wall from actually a thing we in the book. So it was a nice mechanism to tell the story actually.
Yeah, and it's great. People think this stuff comes out fully formed. It never does.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of iterations, lots of challenge, right? We always challenge each other, and we always revisit it and rub stuff off, and then draw it again. And you know, as we validated certain things, we would always go back to it. So, and we talk about that a lot. You know, creating an environment that invites challenge. Like we were like, we're not perfect. We're just give it a go. Have a best for action and stick it on the wall and see what resonates, see what sticks, see what feedback you get, and then just keep iterating. I think that's
not the map, it's the communication, isn't it? It's the interactions, you know, and they're always, what I always say, they're always wrong, you know, and like, you know, people will go out of their way sometimes to create like the perfect map, but then you're kind of going, look, it's not the point. You know, it's you know.
And the funny thing was as well that like we don't have a huge amount of photographs of those maps because they were never that important.
No.
You drew the map, you scribbled something up, but then you came away with the output, the outcome, you know. And the map how you got there. Like we don't have a lot of photographs, a few photographs, but don't have loads. I think there's loads of really important maps we never took photographs of.
No, we didn't. We didn't have the evidence. I think that we then turned it into PowerPoint slides or workshops or something else. There was an artifact that came out of it, but the map was like, yeah, we'll just throw it away. We'll just
It was rarely a map. Yeah, we very rarely we did like a real tidy map. We usually would like, yeah, the output was a workshop or something exactly. So it was funny.
Well, that's it. I mean, how many times have we done, we've worked on maps, and it's not the maps that we communicate, it's the actual outcomes. It's the outcomes of the conversations. It's such a good way of just having a complex, like taking a complex subject, having a good conversation around it, and then arriving at an outcome or a set of next best actions, So that's awesome. So that's good that resonated with people actually. So
yeah, and that's the thing that I think is nice about some of the stuff is that you say that yeah, the maps don't really matter. It's the mapping activity, the conversation is the important thing. So it was like a broken record saying that. So the middle day though, I think it was the Wednesday, was crazy. It did like the talk, the learning sprint, and then I watched a bunch of lightning talks, and then there was the book signing. The book signing was mad because they had a big sort of main theater, and they had a laid out food and stuff, like just like small plates, and then did like 10 lightning talks, which were great crack, just wee short 5-minute lightning talks, and then they hit the book signing straight after. So there was like, I think there was 4 different book signings. So of course you're like, God, I hope 2 or 3 people queue up, like, because I don't want to be standing here on my own looking like an idiot. But there was a huge queue, and I was standing there for 2 hours signing books. So I think there must have been like 200 books handed out. It was mental. But people were really nice. They were really excited about it, and lots of other speakers queuing up as well. So that was cool. And Schoolboy Air made me signature too complicated, and then I regretted it. And the Propello were sponsoring the book, and the guys were brilliant. I was chatting with those guys. They were great, and they kept looking, going, "This queue's really long. What are we going to do?"
I think you added a little mapping touch to each of the books, right?
That's right. I scribbled the map out as part of the signature. I thought it'd be cool.
That's brilliant. That's very
But,
good.
And so now the book is in the wild with 200 plus people, right? So now we're starting to get some feedback from some people who weren't maybe some of the early previewers or the early people who were in the inside track, I guess. And it was fantastic to see. Was it the Dominica DeGrandis comments on LinkedIn? It's coming through. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Dominica was brilliant. She wrote the book "Making Work Visible," which is a brilliant book, all about kind of visualizing flow and stuff, making work. So she had done a couple of posts about it, and the funny thing to me that she said is she popped one of the maps up in LinkedIn. Maybe we can pop a link in, but it's called Mapping Psychological Safety was the name of the post on her blog, DominicaDeGrandis.com, or DeGrandis.com, sorry. And she said a funny thing. She said it never occurred to me to map psychological safety. So that I thought that was insightful, but I think we would map stuff like that all the time. Just map weird stuff. There's never any boundaries to what you map.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I think that was interesting, and then especially the importance of psychological safety, because that's usually the base, the foundation of the map.
Yeah.
Those things like mapping or safety or challenge are those things that are actually quite hard to see, but absolutely like the most important thing for everything that comes above it. And almost the thing at the very top, which is the need, is usually like the least important, because that's almost like the end product. So I thought that was a very interesting comment.
Yeah, and I think she made a comment about why is psychological safety almost in commodity, and we were like, yeah, well, you sort of should be table stakes. It should be what all companies should have. But then the lower components were more on the left, right? Trust, building that environment, right? That safe to fail environment.
That's it. Commodity doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's table stakes.
Yeah,
it means it's more important.
Well, it is, as you say, it's built into the flywheel itself, isn't it? That you want an environment under which it's safe to challenge.
Yeah.
And having safety to challenge requires the psychological safety, and then you got to look at that. So, I mean, that's cool that it's actually resonating with people, and they're starting to, zero in on that sort of thing. So that's really positive.
Yeah. Have you get over the internal fear of, oh, I hope it's not terrible? What are they going to say?
No, just because 1 or 2 people read it quickly doesn't mean anything. Like, so I'll keep I'll keep being a paranoid for another while yet.
That's all.
So it's a great event now, but brilliant to see. So I definitely would look up I think they have like I said, the slides up on GitHub at DevOps Enterprise 2022 Las Vegas, and then all the videos are up on videos.itrevolution.com. You might have to register for that, but if you do, it's free and they don't annoy you, so it's well worth registering to see the videos. There's some incredible videos there. Jason Cox from Disney was brilliant. He did an SRE talk. Jonathan Smart is always brilliant. Loads of incredible talks. There's too many to call out. Like, they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Very good.
So that's the crack. There we are. So give us a wee look us up now on the serverlessage.com for the blog, and at Twitter at serverlessage, and have a wee look on YouTube as well. Thanks very much.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, everyone.